Here in Southfield.
Gershenson.
Here in Bloomfield Township.
Ginchel is excused. Hoffman.
Here in Sunny Rose Township.
Jackson.
Here in Southfield.
Joliet.
Here in Fort Myers, Florida.
I have a chocolate place for you to go to. Okay, Kokendorfer.
Here in Rochester Hills.
I'm gonna be hungry after this, so.
Caldwell.
Here, White Lake Township.
Kuhn.
Here in Troy.
Long.
Here in Commerce Township.
Lubes.
Here in Clausen.
Markham.
Here in Novi.
McGillivray. Commissioner McGillivray? Not here? Okay, not here.
We'll find him. Staff, can we reach out to Commissioner McGillivray to make sure that he's not having login issues? I saw him on the thing.
Yep, I'm doing it now, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll come back to him too to make sure. Miller?
Here in Farmington.
Moss?
Here in Birmingham.
Nelson?
Here, Waterford Township.
Howell?
Here, Pontiac.
Spiz?
Present in the wonderful winter wilderness of Oxford Township.
Whitebird?
I'm here attending from South Lyon, Michigan.
You and Woodward.
Here, Royal Oak, Michigan.
And did we get McGillivray? I don't see him, but you do have a quorum.
Okay, well, we'll get started. I'm sure, Commissioner McGillivray will be with us momentarily. And moves us on to the invocation. And the invocation this evening is going to be led by the Honorable our Vice Chair, Commissioner Marcia Gershenson. And so if you can lead the invocation and then followed by the pledge. And there's a flag behind our clerk.
Thank you. Let us all take a minute to give thanks for our health and this new day, and keep all the citizens of the world that have been impacted by our enemy, COVID-19, close in our hearts. We begin this term with a renewed commitment to work together for the benefit of all Oakland County residents. Let us continue to advocate for the vulnerable, the children and families dealing with remote learning challenges, and everyone who needs support and advocacy. As we begin our work for this coming term, let us remember the commitment that called us all into service, and let it sustain us through these challenging times and help us govern with compassion, understanding, inclusiveness, and value the dignity of every member of our human family. Thank you.
Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Gershenson, for that invocation. That moves us on to the approval of the minutes from the February 4th meeting to 2021. You get a motion to approve the minutes. Moved by Commissioner Hoffman, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes have been adopted unanimously. And moves us to approval of the agenda. And I'll recognize Commissioner Nelson. Oh, you're muted, Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to request waiver of Rule 3 for the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, Item D, Board of Commissioners, County Executive Appointment, Director of Health and Human Services on the regular agenda. This item was taken up today at the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee at 4:45.
And so, I mean, you'll move the agenda with that rule suspension to take up that item.
Correct.
Seconded by Commissioner Long. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda with the suspension of Rule 3 to take up that item that was taken up by committee, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda as presented here with the item that was taken up in committee before a little bit earlier today as part of it, it passes unanimously. That brings us to communications. Madam Clerk, are there any communications?
Yep, I have a few, and I saw that Commissioner McGilvray joined. Commissioner McGilvray?
I'm
I
here
think-
from Madison Heights.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to get that on record. Okay. Yes. So the
Poppy,
first,
no.
Oh, you're on mute. You're
Uh-oh.
not on mute, whoever's talking.
if you need to discipline your dog, please mute. Okay.
All right.
Or children, whoever. Okay. To the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to miscellaneous resolution number 21036, I'm hereby appointing the following individuals to serve on the Pandemic Response Ad Hoc Committee. County Executive, under the County Executive, Sean Carlson and Hillary Chambers, with the alternate as Tom Hardesty. And from the Board of Commissioners, David Woodward, Chair, Marcia Gershenson, Vice Chair, Chuck Moss, Minority Vice Chair, Janet Jackson, and Bob Hoffman, with the alternates as Gwen Markham and Michael Spiz. Sincerely, David T. Woodward. The next one is in regards to the appointment of the Director of Health and Human Services of Oakland County. Dear Chairman Woodward, please be advised that acting pursuant to Public Act 139 of 1973, I hereby appoint Leanne Stafford to the position of Director of Health and Human Services of Oakland County. The appointment shall become effective February 18th, 2021, and is terminable at the pleasure of the County Executive. Sincerely, David Coulter, Oakland County Executive. The next one, ladies and gentlemen, please be advised of the following appointments to the Oakland County Human Trafficking Task Force leadership for 2021-2022, pursuant to miscellaneous resolution 21031. Commissioner Janet Jackson, Chairperson. Commissioner Gwen Markham, Majority Vice Chairperson. Commissioner Michael Spiz, Minority Vice Chairperson. Commissioner Angela Powell, Majority Leadership Member. Commissioner Eileen Kowal, Minority Leadership Member. Thank you. Sincerely, David T. Woodward. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm hereby appointing the following individuals to serve on the Oakland County Community Development Citizens Advisory Council for a term ending December 31st, 2022. 6 local officials are Don Green, Sabrina Lilla, I hope I'm saying that right, Emily Loomis, Giles Tucker, Tare Annika, and Trish Pergament. 10 citizens at large: Autumn Butler, Renee Courtright, Mark Craig, Monique Guerrero, Tylene Henry, Ryan Hertz, Elizabeth Kelly, Chester Coop, Yvette Transu, and one more to be determined on the form that I have. And there should be 2 citizen alternates, and we have 1 on this, Adrian Ziegler. Your confirmation of this appointment is respectfully requested. Sincerely, David T. Woodward.
Madam,
That's all I have.
so I think our caucus needs to discuss that. So can we withhold that communication for the next meeting?
The Oakland County Community Development Citizens Advisory Council?
Yes. We'll hold that to the next meeting.
You're the chair. You get to do whatever you want. Right?
Are there more? Okay. So can we get a motion to receive all those communications minus that last one, and we'll take care of that at the next meeting. Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Charles. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of receiving the communications, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. We'll let the communications, the record reflect the communications are received and adopted unanimously. That will move us to public comment. And so I'm going to recognize our staff, Andrea. I think Andrea's at Powers. This is the time for the public to address the Board of Commissioners on any issues on the agenda or off the agenda. We ask that if you wish to address the commission, you keep your comments limited to 3 minutes, and our staff will help facilitate that conversation. So, or those comments. So, Andrea, are there any people for public comment? Oh, Andrea, you're on mute. I hear you. Wait a second. We can't hear you. Others can't hear you. Okay. There's an audio issue. Wonder if you should log off and log back in. Just take a minute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
That's perfect. Nothing like a reboot. All right, thank you, Andrea. So we're still in public comments. Is there any member from the public, Andrea, who wishes to address the board?
Thank you. Yes, I have 3 callers that are on the line that would like to speak for 3 minutes. We have no people in the auditorium or the committee room, and there are no written submissions. So I can go in sequence of the callers that called in, and they have 3 minutes. The first was Megan Owens from Transportation Riders United. Megan, you have 3 minutes. I'll give you a warning when you're approaching your time. If you'd like to speak freely, please do so.
Good evening. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, just want to make sure. My name is Megan Owens. I'm the Director of Transportation Riders United, which is a group that advocates throughout all of Southeast Michigan to ensure that everyone can get where they need to go, regardless of whether they drive. I served for much of the past decade on the Oakland County Public Transit Authority, and I'm pleased to be part of the Turn Oakland Green campaign. I'm commenting today not on a specific agenda item, but to draw your attention to the national weather, which has shown again this week that global warming should probably have been called global weirding. Just a latest example will help you understand the burning of fossil fuels is messing with our climate in ways that are too often devastating to people's lives and our overall economy. Luckily, Americans are innovative and resilient. We can cut back on burning fossil fuels while also creating good jobs, improving public health, and tackling the scourge of inequity. And I'm excited for the potential for Oakland County to be a leader in doing this. I want to thank you for the steps you guys have taken so far on this more positive path. The sustainability audit of Oakland County properties and buildings is a great start towards eliminating waste and improving productivity. Supporting the executive hiring a sustainability professional will enable the county not just improve your own efficiency, but also aid all of the communities as well. And with the federal administration that's strongly committed to tackling climate change and the governor starting down that same path, Oakland County is really poised to maximize green energy investment. Lastly, I wanted to remind you that transportation has actually overtaken electricity production as the largest sector of climate pollution, and that most of that comes from everyday driving of cars. Decreasing how far people have to drive to reach their daily needs has got to be a big part of tackling climate change. So I look forward to working with you and other county leaders to identify ways to make public transit more accessible and convenient, to make walking and biking safer and easier, and to figure out ways to incorporate new mobility technologies and services in a way that boosts mobility for everyone. So thank you for your time and for your initial efforts to turn Oakland green. I'm happy to support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Megan. The next is Jane O'Neill from Bloomfield Township. Jane, if you're able, would you speak for 3 minutes? I'll set the timer and give you a warning when it approaches.
Thank you, Andrea. My name is Jane O'Neill, and I live in Bloomfield Township. I have been concerned about the future livability of our planet for a very long time. And I've been doing what I can as an individual for many years. And currently I'm working also with the Twin Oakland County Green Campaign. And I'm so very encouraged to see that Oakland County is taking serious action on addressing the climate crisis. I have 3 sons, 2 daughters-in-law, and 2 grandchildren, all who live in Oakland County, with more on the horizon. And I worry about what will happen to them if we're all fighting over dwindling resources. Michigan is predicted to be a destination for people who migrate from areas that are no longer livable. And I'm very concerned about what we're doing to be ready to provide a safe, just place for people to live. Many parts of southeastern Michigan right now are not safe for jobs. But I am hearing wonderful news about what you were working on at the county level, like hiring the dedicated sustainability officer and working on lowering emissions for county operations and many other initiatives. We know that we all have to work at every level, including the local and county government level, to provide a future for my beloved children and grandchildren and all of yours. One last thing. This past year, I have seen what's been being done at the county level to address the pandemic. I heard Mr. Hobbs speak the other night about the vaccination process. And I want to say how much I appreciate all of your efforts. I know you're under a lot of pressure and probably hear a lot of complaints and not enough compliments. So here's one from me. You're doing a great job. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Jane. The next is Andrew Zapolis from Royal Oak. Andrew, if you're able, you have 3 minutes. I'll start the clock when you're ready.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yep, I'm ready. So, hello, commissioners. My name is Andrew Sarpolis. I live at 316 South Maple in Royal Oak. I know a bunch of you, so you guys don't know so well, but I'm part of a coalition that's Megan Huffman, the first public comment called Turn Oakland County Green, or the Oakland County Climate Commission. And I just wanted to be here tonight to offer appreciation to the commission for everything that has been done thus far at the county level on the environment. Next week, our group is celebrating our 1-year anniversary. On February 27th, 2020, we published our Climate Jobs and Justice Platform, which is an environmental vision for Oakland County's future. And since that time, we've seen an enormous amount of progress in the county, thanks to the work of a lot of our visionary leaders like Commissioner Nelson, Commissioner Markham, Commissioner Woodward, and others. And so to celebrate for the next few months, our volunteers are going to be sharing stories about how climate action will impact them with the commission and offering appreciation for the county's action. As we know, climate change is an issue which affects us all and that we have to solve together. And we don't want to leave anybody behind in that transition. We need to invest in those who will be most impacted. And so the challenges are really great, but I'm proud that we have a government here that is looking at the solutions and really telling folks that are concerned about this issue that they're ready to take that journey. And so I just want to say, please know that our coalition, along with our hundreds of volunteers and thousands of member group supporters here in the county, are behind the commission as it acts to address these challenges. You have our full support and appreciation. And just to make this topical to the agenda tonight, one shining example of that is our coalition would like to applaud the Native Plant Initiative that's going on and the work of Commissioner Nelson and the historic leadership Oakland County has taken on fighting invasive species while supporting native ones. I think that just highlights one of the many positive things that are going on. So I'm looking forward to following the progress made on future efforts, and just thanks so much for your time and all that you're doing.
Thank you, Andrew. That completes your public comment this evening. There are no further callers and there are no additional people in the auditorium or committee room A.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for the members of the public that addressed us this evening. Now move us to, so we'll declare public comment closed, and then we'll move us to reports of standing committees. And the first order of business is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. Is there any discussion on any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the consent agenda, Commissioners Charles?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Joliet?
Yes.
Okenderfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long? Commissioner Long?
Oh, yes, you didn't hear me. Maybe I shut it off too fast. Sorry.
I think you did. Thank you. Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Moss?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Biz?
Yes.
Weipert?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Cavell?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The consent agenda is adopted. I saw some communications and others who wanted to be added as sponsor of the National Random Acts of Kindness. So if it would be okay with the group, is there a motion to add anyone who voted in the affirmative to add the name as a co-sponsor to that? Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. That will add all the members of the commission to be part of that resolution to designate February 17th as National Random Acts of Kindness Day in Oakland County. All in favor, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The record reflect that motion adopted unanimously. That will bring us to our regular agenda. And I will first recognize the chair of the Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Chairman. I have two items on the regular agenda today. The first one is facility management, facility planning and engineering, circuit and probate court COVID configuration of courtroom project. Mr. Chair, I move to recommend the adoption of the foregoing resolution.
Commissioner Miller moves, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. Any discussion on the resolution? I believe there is an amendment. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I do have an amendment to this, and it's just adding another now therefore be resolved relative to if we do receive COVID funding again in the future, any type of federal funding to support PPE, et cetera, that we will consider replacing these funds with those funds in the near future.
Commissioner Spiz moves. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Moss. Any discussion on the amendment? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
On the Spiz amendment, Commissioners Gershenson?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Joliet?
Yes.
Okenderfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Mute.
Long? Commissioner Long? You're muted. Did she freeze?
She's more than muted.
I think she froze.
All right, we'll come back to her.
I'll come back.
She's
No,
back.
Commissioner Long?
How do you vote? All right, can you vote? We can see you. Nope, you're
Can't
muted.
hear you, even though you're unmuted. Okay. Thumbs up.
Thumbs
Everybody
up.
saw thumbs up for transparency. That was a yes. Okay. Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Moss?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Biz?
Yes.
Weipert?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It wasn't muted on my end. Did you hear?
Okay. Woodward?
Yes.
And now she's gone.
Cabell?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The amendment is adopted. I should have just called for a voice vote, and that would have been faster. That brings us back to the main motion. Any discussion on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Okay. On the resolution, Commissioners Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Juliet,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Gotcha. Lubes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha. Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Wipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Cabell,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. I'll recognize Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next agenda item I have is facility management, facilities maintenance and operation, prosecutor's office, various prosecutors' office upgrades project. Mr. Chair, I move to recommend the adoption of the foregoing resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Gershenson. I believe this is one that we actually have another amendment in the packet, so I will recognize Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I do have another amendment in the packet, and it is changing some of the terminology. I did have the honor of touring the area with Commissioner Hoffman earlier this week, and the verbiage that we're changing has just falls more in line with what's actually being done up there on those 3 different floors. So with that, I moved the amendment with the adjustments. The dollar amount stays at $250,000. We did not change that.
Moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Joliet. Any discussion on the amendment? Commissioner, I see it. Wow, the screen just moved. Commissioner Gershenson, followed by Markham, and then Charles.
Thank you. Commissioner Spiz, are you saying that there are no changes to the prosecutor's request other than language? What she has asked for originally is
Correct. And I did run this by the prosecutor, and she does approve of the verbiage that I've changed, and I've also ran it by facilities, and they also approve of the verbiage that's been changed.
okay, because I had spoken to facilities who did approve of her initial request, so I just want to make sure that there aren't any changes to that.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gershenson. Commissioner Markham, followed by Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I ask questions of Commissioner Spiz as well?
I charged by the question, by the way.
You can direct your questions to the chair, and if the Commissioner Spiz would like to respond, we will give him the authority to.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair, to Mr. Spiz. There are some strikeouts in the language of things that seem to make sense to me when you're remodeling a whole area, like recarpet and paint.
Yep.
So can you explain how that's going to happen if it's not part of this?
I can. It's actually already happening. That is being done based on the annual maintenance dollars that have been assigned to that location. So it's not really being done under this allocation of funds. It's being done on a separate funding stream. Right. And then instead of repair, some of the fabric and cubicles you can't really repair them. They have to be replaced. And then the number one issue from reviewing the area was actually document storage. So I just changed the wording because they don't have enough cabinets or area, and I shouldn't say areas because they have more than enough areas to store stuff, but probably too much area to store stuff. But they need places to put it because you have boxes of files sitting out in hallways on top of other cabinets in different areas that are not conducive to a work environment. I'll put it that way.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was
Commissioner Charles is good. Okay, you're good? Good. Seeing any further questions or comments on the resolution? I think we're good. All right, then Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
The Spiz amendment, Commissioners Jackson,
Yes.
Joliet,
Yes.
Okenderfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Whitebert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
You, Mr. Chair, have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The amendment is adopted. That brings us back to the main motion. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? It's time to make some serious upgrades in this office. So with that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the resolution as amended, Commissioners Joliet,
Yes.
Okenderfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Whitebert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Miller, is there anything further?
That concludes my report for Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. I'll bring us to the Finance Committee. I don't believe there is anything. I think all those items were taken up under the consent agenda. Is that correct, Commissioner Markham? Commissioner Markham, go.
That's correct.
I'm going to assume it's correct, and I'm sure Commissioner Markham's logging back on here. Brings us to Legislative Affairs and Government Operations. I'll recognize the Commissioner Kristen Nelson.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. I have 3 items. One's a miscellaneous resolution and 2 are going to be reports. First one is miscellaneous resolution, reestablishment of the Oakland County Native Plants Initiative. And Mr. Chair, I move to recommend the adoption of this resolution.
The move to Commissioner Nelson moves, seconded by Commissioner Gershenson. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Commissioner Hoffman.
I mean, I think it's a nice thought. I opposed it when it first came up a year or so ago. I just don't think this is the role of county government, no matter how much it costs. It's not a great amount of money, but I just don't think that's our role, and I will be voting no.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To echo what Commissioner Hoffman was saying, I feel the same way. It's a good cause, but I'm wondering if there's not a better way to go about things to perhaps be more of a facilitator as far as leading people to find out where they might be able to get these plants, inform them about resources, inform them about growing these plants, perhaps have something on the county website somewhere. Excuse me. I had to take out these earbuds. They're driving me crazy. No, years ago I did a landscaping for lakefronts seminar, and people really liked it. It was very informative. And I'm just thinking maybe along those lines, if maybe we could somehow facilitate some kind of seminars, maybe through the Oakland County Farmers Market. I just don't know how much of an impact, even though it's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money for plants, and how much of an overall impact that it has on introducing native plants into the county. So thank you. I'm going to be voting no because of that reason.
Thank you, Commissioner Kowal. Anybody else like to speak to the resolution? Seeing none. Oh, Commissioner Nelson, was that? You raising your hand? Oh,
we're good.
No further discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On the resolution, Commissioners Kokendorfer,
No.
Kowal,
No.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Fizz,
No.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
And no.
Jackson,
Yes.
Joliet,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 4 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next, we have the Board of Commissioners appointment to the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission. Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, having considered the vacancy to the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission on February 9th, 2021, hereby recommends that Lance Stokes be appointed to the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term beginning January 1st of 2021 through December 31st, 2023. Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, I move the acceptance of the foregoing report.
Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Charles. Any discussion? Commissioner McGilvery?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will be voting no on this. I thought there were better qualified candidates that were interviewed in Largo. And so for that reason, I'll be voting no.
Thank you, Commissioner McGilvery. Commissioner Long, followed by Commissioner Joliet. Then Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Long.
I too looked at all the resumes and stuff. I'm voting no on this. A little different reason than Commissioner McGilvery. We are, most of you know, we're losing a lot of the top half of the administration and parks. And I just felt that this time for another 3 years that we should have kept the incumbent Bob Costin, and just for 3 years. I think there's a lot of change going to happen. He's well-informed and educated. So I'm just going to vote no at this time for the new person. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. Commissioner Joliet, followed by Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you. I too echo Commissioner Long's sentiments that we are losing a large number of our important administration in Parks and Rec. And going through the interview process, I'm just concerned about the lack of Parks and Rec experience that the nominee has versus some of the other people that were interviewed. So that reason I'm going to have to vote no.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward, and I echo what Commissioner Joliet and Commissioner Long have said. You know, Bob Costin has a lot of institutional knowledge. I've never met a person who's been more passionate and dedicated to the parks for many years. He was the driving force between the ORV park in Groveland and Holly Township. And for the reasons stated, you know, Dan Stencil's leaving, you know, Bob just has so much institutional knowledge that I think that this is not the time to not reappoint Bob Costin.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Any further discussion? Seeing Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be voting yes for Mr. Stokes because of his background in the environment and in brownfield redevelopment, also with working with the county in a lot of different positions and with developments. I feel as though his expertise will be a welcome addition to the Parks and Rec Board as we move forward and we look at how we are considering land use and we are looking at how we are really addressing and promoting our parks. He fills a spot that we did not have on the board. I know that Commissioner McGilvery stated earlier in the process that a senior citizen would be nice, which he is, and very educated. And I feel as though his presence will enhance our parks and give another viewpoint as far as how we can use our parks and what we're doing with our parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Nelson, followed by Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too, to echo Commissioner Jackson, I too will be supporting Lance Stokes. The one thing that just really stood out more specifically with him was his background and experiences. He has almost a really great balance and mix of business and environmental sustainability. He has a PhD in environment. I don't know if it's environmental sustainability, but it's environmental sciences. And as we do move forward here in Oakland County with the environment being on the forefront of many of the things that we're doing, I think his expertise and the experiences that he brings with environmental sustainability is only going to capitalize and enhance not just our parks, but really it's going to align with what we are moving forward with here in Oakland County. So I will also be supporting.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Miller, followed by Cabell, followed by Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to call for a caucus.
Recess?
Recess caucus, yes. Yep. Yeah, recess.
Okay. All right. So we will stand at ease. Let me stay for ease for, we'll give a time, but I'm going to try to get it done in 3 sets of 5-minute increments. But we'll come back as quickly as possible. So we'll see, the board stands at ease. Okay. It's close to 15 minutes. Let's see, is everyone here? Everyone coming back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Madam Clerk, why don't we call the roll to reestablish quorum?
Alrighty. Okay, for attendance. And if you haven't moved from where you were, you don't have to tell me where you are again. If you have moved locations, then let me know. Commissioners Kowal. Here. Kuhn.
Surrounded by farmland and
If you could all mute, I'm hearing, I don't know, somebody's listening to something. I don't know what, but.
Yeah.
Okay, is Commissioner Kuhn back on?
Yes, thank you. I'm here.
Thank you. Long?
Here.
There you are. Lubes?
Here.
Markham?
Here.
McGilvray?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Moss?
Here.
Thank you. Nelson?
Here.
Powell?
Here.
Biz?
Still here.
Good. Whitebird?
I'm here.
Woodward?
Here.
Cavell?
Here.
Charles?
I too am still here.
Thank you. Good. Kirshenson?
Here.
Hoffman?
Here.
Jackson?
Here.
Joliet?
Here.
And Kokendorfer.
Here.
Well, I'm glad you're all back and still in the same locations. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us back. We were taking up items under the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. We were on a resolution to appoint the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission member. And we were in the midst of discussion when we went at ease. My list, unfortunately, I think I'm just, so if you were waiting in the queue to speak, please raise your hand again because I don't know where I am in that list. So Commissioner Nelson, I think was up, and then Commissioner Nelson and then Commissioner Long, raise your hand for a second time.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. I 100% support Lance Stokes. As I previously had said, I think he brings an amazing background with some really great experiences that really are going to help push us forward here in Oakland County with environmental sustainability. I love the fact that he has an amazing background in business and finance portion of it as well. So I am fully in support of Lance Stokes for this appointment on the Parks and Rec Commission board. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Long for a second time.
Sorry. So we might, since we have a nomination, do we have to vote on that first, or can I do a nomination?
We have a resolution before us to appoint Mr. Stokes. You want to make?
We have to vote for that first. Trying to follow.
Well, when we vote for it, then and it passes, it will be the appointment.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'd like to throw another nomination out to nominate Bob Costin then.
So I think the way to do that is, and normally we'd have a written, but for this purpose, I think it's pretty simple. Commissioner Long, maybe you're amending to replace the name of Lance Stokes with Bob Costin.
Correct.
Okay, so Commissioner
If I have
Long,
a second, I don't know. Yeah.
Commissioner Long moves, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? And we've talked about it. Madam Clerk, why don't you just call the roll on the amendment?
On the Long amendment, Commissioners Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Miller,
No.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Cavell,
No.
Charles,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Joliet,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas, 11 nays.
On insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. That brings us back to the main motion. That's the appointment of Lance Stokes. And we're still in discussion. Commissioner Joliet.
Hi, I'm not sure how this is going to go either in terms of making another nomination, if that's possible. I wanted to.
I think this would be like an amendment to the resolution.
Okay, so I could make an amendment to the resolution to nominate Jenny Martin. She was also interviewed in the Lago meeting and has extensive experience in Parks and Rec and budgeting, financial budgeting within a Parks and Rec department.
Moved by Commissioner Joliet. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
On the Joliet amendment, Commissioners Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Miller,
No.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
No.
Powell, Commissioner Powell,
We'll come back to Commissioner Powell.
Sorry,
Spiz?
no.
Oh.
Powell is a no. Sorry.
Yep. Spiz,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
No.
Cavell,
No.
Charles,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Joliet,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas, 11 nays.
On insufficient voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. That brings us back to the main motion. Is there any further discussion? On the main motion, this is the appointment of Lance Stokes to the Oakland County Parks and Rec Commission. Seeing Commissioner Cavell, I'm sorry. You're up in the corner of my screen here. Commissioner Cavell.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you in your windup. You can go ahead. It's okay.
All right, there we go. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Yes, on the appointment.
On the appointment. The appointment,
yep.
yes.
Yes. Commissioners Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moss,
No.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
No.
Jackson,
Yes.
Joliet,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
No.
Kuhn,
No.
Long,
No.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 yeas, 6 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The appointment is confirmed. Commissioner Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Chairman. Last report, Board of Commissioners, County Executive Appointment, Director of Health and Human Services. To the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, having reviewed the appointment by the County Executive of Leanne Stafford as the Director of Health and Human Services, effective February 28th, 2021, recommends concurrence of this appointment pursuant to Public Act 139 of 1973. Chairperson, on behalf of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee, I move the acceptance of the foregoing report.
Commissioner Nelson moves, seconded by Commissioner Weipert. Any discussion on the appointment of Leanne Stafford to be our new Director of Public Health in Oakland County? I guess, the one thing I'll say, and I'm sure that the committee knows this, and members of this board knows this, Leanne has done an incredible job as our medical officer, as a steady and reliable force into protecting the public health, not just in pre-COVID with the measles outbreak and other types of actions our public health have done, but has done a phenomenal job during this and leading us forward. And as she takes on this greater responsibility over the entire public health department, I think Oakland County is going to be proud to have someone with not just her experience, but her calmness and focus and steady hand. And all of Oakland County residents are very blessed and fortunate to have her at the helm of our public health department. Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, I'll just add this. I had an issue with vaccines in Birmingham with one of the senior houses, and the same lady just called me while we were out on break with the proper information. I'll be proud to vote yes. I think we're getting a great appointment, and the county will be well served.
Absolutely. Great. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the confirmation of the appointment of Leanne Stafford as the Director of Health and Human Services.
Commissioners Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
If you're not talking or you have strings in the background, please mute yourself.
lovely, but Spiz,
Yes.
thank you. Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Charles.
Yeah.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Joliet,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long. Commissioner Long? All right, you broke up. I think that was a yes. You want to give me a thumbs up or down, just so I know for sure? Commissioner Long? I think she froze again. All right, I'll come back. Lubes?
Yes.
For a second there, I thought I froze. Okay, Long? Are you?
Commissioner Long, can you hear us? We see you, but it doesn't look like you're moving.
I think she froze.
She's moving.
Oh, okay, your
wait.
lips are moving?
Yep, you're good.
Okay,
Go.
moving. Unmute.
And
Okay.
a thumbs up by Commissioner Long.
Thank you. I saw
Like
that.
a Roman emperor.
Okay, I'm happy to announce 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Unanimous vote for the confirmation. Sufficient number voting the affirmative. The appointment is confirmed, and I think that's great for all of Oakland County. Yay. There are no items under the Public Health and Safety Committee. All those items were dealt with in the consent agenda. That will bring us to reports of special committees. There are none. Reports of special order of business, none. Unfinished business, none. And they'll bring us to new and miscellaneous business. And I believe that I'm aware of 3 resolutions to be introduced. I will call on Commissioner Miller first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I have a miscellaneous resolution. Board of Commissioners approval of the Education Attainment Compensation Incentive Program for Oakland County Law Enforcement, referred to Health and Safety.
Referred without objection. I'll call next on Commissioner Kuhn. I believe you have a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I have a resolution on vaccine priority, which I'd like to have referred to Public Health and Safety also. Thank you.
Referred without objection. And Commissioner Jackson, I believe, has a resolution.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I have a miscellaneous resolution to improve access and provide express delivery of death certificates issued by the Oakland County Clerk's Office to funeral homes, to be referred to the LAGO Committee.
Referred without objection. Commissioner McGilvery.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I have a resolution. It's for the funding of the Green Ooze on 696. Last year, we allocated $150,000, or up to $400,000, but it's only $150,000 for the demolition of the buildings along 696. And we have an interlocal agreement with the city, and we should be all set. So I'm not sure which committee, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Yes, and it's not a resolution for the Green Ooze, it's to address and fix the Green Ooze.
It's a demolition of the buildings.
Demolition of the buildings, yes. Great. It will be referred to, I mean, that is, what committee would that go? Is that it's probably a finance. We're appropriating money that we held in finance. So I think it's actually staff.
I would say economic development and infrastructure.
It's an infrastructure related.
Economic development too.
Okay. We'll send it to the infrastructure committee. And I'll ask the chair to send it to wherever it needs to be. Same with the previous ones. We'll make sure it gets to the appropriate committee and have the record reflect that. But yes, introduce and refer without objection. Commissioner Long, did you have a? You're muted.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Any other resolutions to be introduced?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes.
I think I'm just having major internet.
Okay. It's like a Verizon commercial. All right. Any further new miscellaneous business? Seeing none, we will move to announcements. Any announcements for the group? I will just say, make certain that everyone sees the chief of staff memo that was provided to both caucuses for the NACO conference, as well as some other training and leadership development courses on the horizon. Really want to stress, maximize participation in the FOIA and record retention training that will be coming up, as well as other things. If there's any questions, reach out to our interim chief, Megan Sellers, or appropriate staff. Commissioner Miller, I see your hand up.
I just want to say happy birthday to Bob Hoffman. He turns 17 tomorrow.
It's not my birthday, but it'll be 16 and I'm getting my driver's license.
There you
go.
All
right.
And while we're on it, I'd like to wish Alonda Charles a birthday on this coming Tuesday, I believe.
Oh, look at that. Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You did mention it, but MAC did make the NACO conference accessible for any county commissioner and all the county department people. So it's all paid for. So if you want to go on and take advantage of any of their seminars, I would strongly urge you to do so.
That'd be great.
Thank
Thank you. Yes, thank you for reaching out, communicating that. Commissioner Cabal and then Madam Clerk.
Yeah, two things, and forgive me if this isn't the correct way to do this, but we're working with the housing department on a couple of cool things. One about housing discrimination, and so would love to talk to anyone about that and hear your thoughts. So that's something we're thinking on. And then second, we talked to one of the court administrators. So I think this is mostly for Commissioner Markham, Commissioner Hoffman, and Commissioner Joliet. Would love to talk offline about courts and stuff like that in Clarkston and Novi. So anyone else is more than welcome to tune in too.
Thank you, Commissioner. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. I did have the opportunity to say this in the Democratic Caucus, but I want to make sure all members knew that the Census Bureau did put out that the information will be sent to the states later than originally hoped what the date would be. And so they're saying by September 30th. So I just want to make sure you all are aware of that as, you think about reapportionment and all that. It's kind of getting pushed off a little later, so.
Great. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any further announcements? Seeing none, we will adjourn to March 11th, 2021 at 6 p.m. or a call of the chair. Thank you, everyone. Be safe out there. Stay warm. And we will see everyone later. Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy
Good night,
Florida
everyone.
for us, Karen.